Just one last thing. Going back to Compressor, and you didn't mention it before. I haven't actually. I think I've opened Compressor twice this year because I've been using droplets, and you didn't mention them earlier.
Oh, yes, very true.
Sitting on your desktop in a folder, once you've gone all the trouble of creating all those wonderful presets.
Yep.
Compressor, if anyone doesn't know it, will allow you to make droplets. The only difficulty with them is that you can't easily transfer, or you want to transfer them from one version of Compressor to another, or one platform to another. You actually have to put them back through Compressor. You can't just, they're aligned with that particular application on that particular computer, but you can bring them in and create a droplet. So it's still quite possible if Fred down the corridor has got a whole set of wonderful droplets. You can even probably email them to you or something. I don't know if that's doable, but then you can use them on your platform, and so if you find some good presets, steal them.
Look, it's a very good point. I'm sorry I actually didn't mention it. We do use droplets. We don't have them set up in the suites because usually for updating stuff and all that, it's really easy for us to just grab. We've got one central folder that lives in library, application support, compressor. So you just, that one thing we copy that sits on our server, and we copy it to every single suite in here, so all the suites match up. Our guy who does all our encoding, if you look at his desktop, fully laid out with droplets, just to make it easy.
So they're all your presets in there, are they?
Yep.
Right.
The other thing that's nice about Compressor that I should mention, it's really good to, let me just give you an example. Just for workflow, which is in default destination, I should have mentioned. You can see here encodes, DVD, episode, H264, MPEG-1, MPEG-2, MPEG-4, and I don't know what things for. Something. It's just something to keep in mind. People, when they're in a rush, often go, "Oh, I'll encode this, and I'll quickly save it somewhere," and get a little bit messy. We always have it go to our H264 folder. So it's very easy that I know if I quickly just throw it in and just gone, "Hey, go compress," then I go working on something, and then once it's finished, I know where the file's going to be. It's always in the H264 folder. Alright, so it's really easy. Droplets work the same way. So if you've got a droplet, you can just have it on the bottom corner of your screen, and you can just grab the uncompressed file and just go drop. And then you know that once it's finished, you just go into that H264 folder, and that's where it's going to be. And then you can move it to where you want. But it's just a nice little. It's how people want to work. It's not going to improve the quality of your H264, but it's just a nice little way of just going. This is where I'm actually going to throw stuff.
So if you don't select that, or has that got a none application on it or something? Because if you don't do that,
you've got to make
defaults to where your file lives, doesn't it?
Yeah, defaults to either where your file lives or where your desktop. I think you can do. From memory, we've been using destinations for ages. So you just set up your destinations. You just add destinations. So we've obviously got the 4 destinations there for each operator. And then, it also works with our DVD export, because our DVD export's got to go to a certain spot in the SAN, and the script fires up and goes, it should be in there, and it goes, there it is, and away it goes. And then once you've set those destinations, you can just any single, any single setting here, you just then pull down those destinations that we've made. So you've got source, desktop, plus the storage if you're actually using QMaster. Has anybody set up QMaster here and using QMaster? Read about it on the web before you do it. If you do choose to do it. It does get a little bit tricky, and there's a few little catches in doing it. Computers are probably fast enough now that you don't really need to do it. If you're doing long form, then it can be really handy. But then also, you need a fast network, and it's good to have a SAN and all that sort of stuff. There was a fair bit in setting up a QMaster thing. We do commercials, we set up a QMaster thing and went, well, that was a waste of time. And we obviously encode locally on whatever machine, mainly down with the guy who does all the encodes, who has droplets. Yeah, they're really handy, the destinations. Just flick through them and then, you know, just keeping things neat and clean. Which, you know, when you're editing, tends to go out the window a little bit. Are there any other questions?
Thinking it's nearly take-up time.
Well, I've spoken for that long. Well, I hope that was helpful to everybody. You know, it is a matter of just having it. Doesn't take you long. Like if you just go in there, I mean, definitely look at the CRAM solution if you want to go get the magic, you know, solution downloads. But they're trying to make it for the whole world, so that sometimes doesn't necessarily suit you. If you keep it simple and go through those processes, it doesn't take you long at all to set up some presets and then they're your presets, and you know, quickly go through and you know what minute to 10 meg, so you can easily devise on long form what one you need to use, drop it on, and away you go.
Thanks, Chris, very much for tonight. Yeah,